It is genuinely incredible how painful time passes when you truly know that your life is trash and that you're a nobody and that you're worthless and that your life is over. And that anything that you could ever do to pass the time is just to distract yourself. If even that, because my brain won't even allow me to even do that anymore. Because every time I write or make anything, it just comes back to the problem, which is the fact that I am a poor person that will never have a good job, will never have a sense of genuine community outside of crappy apps, which is nothing. But more than that, will never have a kid or a husband or anything. And I suffered so much when I was a kid, and now life is just is so fucked up, I can't even wrap my head around it. And I'm literally schizophrenic, or at least vaguely schizophrenic, from how miserable and how empty my life is. I know that, the stigma is like, oh, everybody's life sucks, most people's life sucks, like, don't rant about it, but I don't give a fuck about what anyone says about anything. I shouldn't even be here anymore. And I have to be, so I'm going to do what I want to process day-to-day pain that I truly, there is no remedy, there's no relief, because even the things that I create is made fun of by the very few communities that would even care about it, which is they don't care. Nobody cares about much of anything real in general. Everything is just a cheap joke for most people, probably because their own lives are cheap jokes. Mine certainly is. And it gets worse when I get to a point where I can't even enjoy my daydreaming, which makes me psychotic anyway. But I just don't care about anything anymore. I don't care about the way I present myself. I don't even really care to a degree about whether or not anybody cares about me, because I feel like that's just a default to that for most average people. No one cares about anyone. I keep looking at people that are infinitely better than me on social media, and I could always handle the fact, ultimately, that they had careers and they had friends and they lived in California and they had interesting lives. I could always deal with that, ultimately. It really wasn't too bad, It was like, oh, I would like to have those things, but those people now have kids and they have a husband and they're raising a family. And those people now have things that are a very detrimental human social need that I have been told more times than I can count to my face at this point, that I'm selfish for wanting because I can't afford it for reasons that are outside of my control. People are like, just go to work, and what they don't realize is that, first of all, for the average person, because apparently I fall into the category of most people after wasting my life and my time doing things that didn't matter, I'm now realizing that I'm at a point where I am in the category of someone who is the lowest form of society, literally, and borderline on the verge of homeless. And I have all the stereotypes of a homeless person. I have nobody to go to, nobody who's ever loved me, nobody who's ever cared outside of my parents who are aging. And I just feel mentally insane because the identity that I had the first couple of years of my life was either taken from me, it was school, or there is no identity, or it's something that is ultimately just me rotting or wasting away in some way. And I'm at such a low point with my mental health that I genuinely think that it's a good idea to post about how pathetic and worthless I am to various social media apps where nobody cares, because at the very least then that's still fucking something, and still reminds me as an individual that at the very least I kind of exist. It's just crazy to me, the complete lack of sympathy or anything that anyone has for poor people in America, especially disabled poor people. Like, there's literally nothing that we can do, and from the start it was kind of fucked over for us. And I know this is what really gets me, is that if I had had the kind of personality that was bubbly and gushy and exciting and interesting, and I think I do, I genuinely think that I do, it's just the fact that I've approached it differently throughout my life, and I've kept it mostly internal for a bunch of different reasons. But lately that's been making less and less sense to me, and now I just feel completely fucking alone, which I am, which most people are, and I recognize that. But it's my right to post about how fucking insane and miserable and depressed I am, and if I'm not expressing myself in some way through art or video making or making some form of art, I truly feel like I don't even exist. Like, I truly feel like I'm just a fetus of other people, from how invisible and from how worthless and small my life is, and I've felt this way for so many fucking years. And there's nowhere to go to meet people, to genuinely, truly fucking meet people. I mean, the closest thing I can think of is Reddit, which is just a bunch of equally crazy, toxic people, and people don't try to get to know each other on there. There's no way to get to know people. It's really just a place for people to be at the pinnacle of their mental insanity, which does not help. And whenever I'm alone, which I used to enjoy being alone, I didn't love it, but I used to enjoy it. Whenever I'm alone now, all I think about is how I've been alone most of my life, and I've never been cared about or have bonded or shared in life for the majority of my life, and I never will. And the only thing to be said about that is just that I have a lot of fucking mental and emotional disorders that have come out of it. And honestly, I'm only getting weirder as I get older, and not in a good way, like in a really unhealthy, crazy, deranged, terrible way where it's so obvious that I've never had any healthy relationships in my life. And as an adult, it's even worse because you're just expected to go to work or you die, essentially. And that in and of itself has a whole layer of things to unpack, like, well, why was I not special enough to be one of those people that doesn't have to do that? Why didn't I have the talent? Why wasn't I interesting enough? Why couldn't I have attracted people to me in some way? And that's a whole devastation in and of itself. But then you take the economy, and you take the fact that I can't afford anything anyway. Even if I do what I'm supposed to do, I will still never have kids. I will never have a husband because I'm not interested in being married if I'm just this bitter 90-pound literal bleak waste of a person, which is exactly what I am. And I'm aware that the world is full of so much more than just the famous people and the influencers, but you wouldn't be able to tell 98% of the time. And as human beings, psychologically, there's only so much that we can take. I can't take the constant lie that I'm being told every day that it's only the Hollywood celebrities and the YouTube influencers and these successful artists and things like that. I can't be told every day indirectly that those people are the only people that matter in terms of the fact that they get paid enough to have the life that they want. They get paid enough to do anything that they want, because honestly, that is the biggest sign that those people are the ones that matter, even outside of the whole social thing. And it's true that my life does not matter and that it never really has. And I can do whatever I want to try to cope with that, but it is the fucking truth. And if I could have at the very least created a shitty personal life, I could have just been another boring, but ultimately healthy, happy, average person. But I can't even achieve that because I can't get married because I'll be too bitter about the fact that we'll never have kids. And if you had my heart and if you had my mind, you would understand why that feels so intolerable to me. The pain as I get older is getting to the point where it feels like it could K me off in and of itself. And it's just what it is. And God knows that people don't really value friendships in society. Like, there's literally no place to make friends anywhere. You just cling on to the friends you got from your prime, so to speak, and that's it. That's all that you get. And I fucking hate the fact that all of my problems relate back to, like, every problem that every average, boring person has, because I have become a very average, boring person, so much to the point that I can't even stand being around myself. I really can't. I used to tolerate being with myself. I used to enjoy it. I really did, and nowadays all I think about is how I'm just alone, alone, alone. And anything that I do is just a distraction from the complete trash waste that I am. A lot of which I will admit is my own fault. Because even though society and the economy is messed up, if you have a really exceptional talent, or if you can manage to be really entertaining or to get people's attention, love and money just flows through your life. And I'm not one of those people, and most people aren't. And that is just fucking trash. I can't stand how miserable that makes me.